Okay, so obviously this requires a lot of time and cost investment. What do you recommend the approach be? And how much will that cost be for any application deployment?
So I'm like, depends on how much you care about your application, I guess. These systems are not very expensive, like on-call rotation systems or CloudWatch or any other metrics and monitoring system. They're not super expensive, but they get expensive as your application scales, as your application has more components to it and more monitoring and more metrics need to be published. But in general, they're not like, I wouldn't call them the systems expensive even at a very large scale. So I think that's not the cost. The cost is human. The people who have to jump on it, the people who have to triage those issues, fix them, and there's a real human cost to it, right? If you got all the people in one time zone, someone's going to have to get up in the middle of the night and deal with an angry spouse to go fix a metric that beeped, right? So that's one aspect of the human cost is much higher than any other cost, I think. But the flip side of that is also, that I've had teams where journey teams are very protective of each other, but when you're getting faced in the middle of the night because of somebody else's bad code, and your spouse is yelling at you, then people come and say, hey, this guy is not, or this gal is not pulling their load. So, like, you probably should do something about that. So that goes away. That thin wheel of silence goes away pretty quickly with metrics and monitoring.
So, but in terms of cost and in terms of involvement, is there too much of investment into that? Like too much of KPIs?
No, it's absolutely not. So I think it's the human side, the culture side is much more expensive. The actual dollar cost of setting up these systems and monitoring is generally pretty low.
There's not too much of...
No, you wouldn't even see it in your bill. I'm like, with all the other infrastructure and compute and CDN cost, this is going to be a drop in the bucket.
Okay.